Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're getting into a really personal story, an account of a life spent completely adrift. It's a story about this quiet, incredible resilience in the face of, well, just relentless hardship. Right off the bat, the author, who was born in the 1980s, just sets the stage with this incredibly powerful statement. I mean, think about that for a second. A journey where looking back isn't even an option. It's not about pushing forward because you're hopeful, it's about the simple fact that there's nowhere else to go. So let's start at the beginning. The first part of this story is all about an uprooted childhood, one that goes from a really complicated kind of love to just a sudden empty void.
From a very young age, the author learned to basically hide their feelings. They figured out pretty quick that love wasn't free. It always had strings attached. And the easiest way to find peace? Just be quiet. Don't make any trouble. And that fragile sense of stability they had, it didn't just fade away. It shattered. The source describes losing both parents not as something that happened over time, but as this instant hollowing out feeling.
Wow. I mean, there's just such a finality to that statement, isn't there? That one single event completely defined the rest of their journey. They ended up in foster care and described just feeling like a constant burden. Like their only job was to not make a fuss. Okay, so that brings us to the next chapter. Let's call it Surviving the Wilderness. This was a whole decade of just drifting, where staying alive wasn't just an instinct, it was a conscious choice they had to make every single day. And this timeline really paints a picture of the relentless grind of their youth. You can forget about dreams or long-term plans. The only goal was the next meal, the next day. This wasn't about building a future. It was just about surviving the present. This is the thought that just hits them while they're sitting on a roadside, having spent their very last bit of money with no way to even get home. It's this incredible sense of isolation where, as they put it, even crying felt totally pointless. Next up, we get to what you might call the illusion of stability. Because in their late 20s, for the first time, a little flicker of hope appears. It came in the form of a steady job. Now, it wasn't perfect, not by a long shot. Work meant they had to move around a lot. Relationships would come and go. But for the very first time, there was this feeling, just a hint of a feeling, that maybe, just maybe, things were going to get better.
And then the pandemic hit, and everything just fell apart. Talk about cruel irony, getting laid off on Valentine's Day. The letter they got offered no sympathy, no compensation. It just highlights how brutal and impersonal their reality truly was.
And just like that, after all those years of struggling to build something, anything at all, they were right back where they started, with absolutely nothing. The end of that chapter was, well, it was just a return to the beginning.
So, that brings us right up to the present day in Section 4, The Unending Walk. At nearly 40 years old, the author is still searching for a place to land, but now they're doing it in a country that's been fractured by all the post-pandemic turmoil and conflict.
And I think this is a really important point. This wasn't some big, ambitious adventure. This was an act of pure desperation. It was about trying to flee a chaotic homeland, only to find a whole new set of struggles abroad. Suddenly your age is a barrier, opportunities start shrinking, and the money is just slowly running out.
This quote just perfectly captures that feeling of complete invisibility. Standing on a crowded street, but feeling like you're a transparent person in a world full of people who all seem to have a purpose, a direction.
So you have to wonder, right? And the author asks this themselves. With no real home, no support system, no money to start over, what is the point of continuing to struggle? Why keep going? And the answer they come to is, well, it's pretty profound. It isn't about some bright-eyed hope for the future. It's actually about honoring the incredible struggle of the past. To just stop now would feel like betraying the person who somehow managed to survive all of it.
And that's the stark summary of 4 decades of just existing. A life without any clear direction, without any promise that things are going to get better. And that's where the story ends, on this final, incredibly powerful thought. It's not a statement of victory, it's not even really a statement of hope. It's just a declaration of pure, unyielding persistence. And it kind of leaves you with a question, doesn't it? When everything else is gone, is the simple act of just continuing to walk forward the only real answer there is?